so what? Did you explain why it was registered in Yorkshire?
No, they didn't.
No, did you explain to them?
Yeah, I explained to them.
And they let you go?
I explained to them, and then they done a name check, a license check, insurance, so on and so forth. They searched me, searched the car. That was literally the reason for stopping. They didn't stop me under any act or anything like that. They just said, look, we're stopping you. Cars registered in Yorkshire. Seems suspicious. And I couldn't get my head around it at the time.
Okay, fair enough. Michael, thank you for your experience. Michael's a new caller. Alex is another new caller in Ramsgate. Alex is mixed race. He's happened to you too, is it?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the in. Absolutely great show. To be honest with you, it happens quite often. Very similar to some of your other callers. It's usually for things like just checking if the car's stolen or not. When I know they can tell who's driving it and everything before. Pull me over for things like drugs, search me. Like I've never ever been in trouble for anything like that. And when it does happen, sometimes they block the door in. I don't get confrontation or anything, but they block the door in. Sometimes they pull right beside me. They sometimes call for backup. And sometimes I'm standing there on the side of the road for a good half an hour where they're checking everything. And it's really embarrassing. And after a while, after years in fact, it gets to your mental health a bit. It makes you feel really low sometimes.
How many times do you think you've been stopped, Alex?
I'd say at least 20 times in my whole life. It might not seem a lot compared to some black people, because I know some black people. That's a lot more.
We had a gentleman on the other day, he was 57, he said he'd been stopped 73 times.
I heard that. I also heard the guy that said he'd been stopped over 1,000 times in 40 years.
No, I didn't hear that one.
I couldn't believe that. But even things like, I had two air fresheners in my car, like a new one and then an old one I just couldn't be bothered to throw away. And what's with all the air fresheners? And I video it every time it happens now, and I show the world what happens, and I show all my friends and family and social media. I have posted up the whole meeting from when they pull me over, just to prove people like that. And I ask people, say, do you get treated like this? Does this happen to you? And I often ask a lot of my white friends, who now and again get pulled over, but nowhere near treated how I do. It's almost like they look at me and fear. I can tell by the look in their eyes and their demeanour that they fear the dark skin.
Why do they?
I don't want to be horrible and say
I just want you to be honest, really. What do you think? Because
I think they are scared and think that, and assume that all black people and a lot of black people are violent, aggressive, and up to no good, to the point where they disproportionately stop and search us. And
why do you think they think like that? That's the key.
Because I think it's ingrained I think it's just ingrained into the system and culture. Just a quick example, I used to live in London. I obviously live in Kent now, but one of my mum's ex-partners was a CID detective on the Stephen Lawrence case, and he ended up leaving the Met Police and suing them for racism. He's mixed race. I didn't understand it at the time, but this was when I was really young, but I sort of understand why now, and see why I just sort of see what goes on, because I've always been brought up around a white family, so I've had to learn these things for myself. So yes, it's not nice. It happens sometimes. I even pull myself over, like when I'm being followed left, right. I pull myself over and pull over before they even flash me, because I know it's coming. I know exactly when it's coming, but I don't want to tar them all with the brush of being racist.
I know, and I'm trying, and this is why I'm always at pains to try and keep an open mind and try to get to the absolute bottom of the truth about what happened. And the key to this has got to be, did they think that the driver was suspicious, that she was suspicious, something about the car was suspicious, was it in a crime area? But to say, oh, we got the number plate wrong, it's like, well, no, hold on, you're putting the cart before the horse here. Why did you look up the number plate in the first place? Why?
I completely agree.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, we're not idiots. Just level with us and tell us why you did it.
Just honesty. I'd appreciate a police officer saying, look, I see a video not long ago of a guy being pulled over, and they said, look, I'm going to be straight with you. There's a lot of certain crimes to do with black people in this area. I'm pulling you over.
No, I get that. I think the problem with it is, and I don't know exactly where in Hackney that Dawn Butler was right. But you know, there is a high crime rate in Hackney. I used to live in Hackney. I know what it's like. I know what that police station in Stoke Newington on Homeland Road is like. I know how busy it is. I know what goes on. But you know, was it because it was being driven in that area and they'd had a report? What I suspect has happened is there'd been a report of something going on, and you know, maybe they fitted the description. Maybe I don't know what car it was. You know what I mean? It's all that. If you're driving a turbo Bentley and you're a young black guy, you'll be stopped.
But that just doesn't seem fair, though, does it?
Well, football, I'll just ask any Premier. I used to do a lot of football. Ask any Premier League footballer. I get a young black footballer. They'll tell you they've all been pulled over, all of them. And then they go, "Oh, I'm whoever," and they go, "Oh yeah, I like your goal last week." Anyway, thank you very much for getting on, Alex. Nice to speak to you, man. Caleb is another new caller, 3 in a row, hat trick, ding, in Croydon. Hi, Caleb.
Hi. So I'm a university student, and when I moved up to Nottingham for uni, I got pulled 6 times in a month.
What car were you driving?
Yeah. A 2-litre Golf.
2-litre Golf?
Yeah, so naturally I would have drawn attention, but
yes.
They kept giving me for being pulled over was they claimed that I was uninsured. But I was pretty sure that I was insured. And after a while, eventually, I think one copper did do some digging and realised that my insurance company forgot to move my policy. Which was originally on a private plate onto my new vehicle.
Right.
So technically I wasn't sure, they just forgot to use the policy, so it was a mistake of the insurance company that resulted in me.
Did they tell you why they'd stopped you in the first place?
Yeah, so they told me that I was uninsured, and they go through the whole process of calling the bureau, and they come back and say, yes, I am insured.
So they could tell that you were uninsured, just by...
Yes.
But they must have had a suspicion in the first place about something, wasn't they? Or do you just look out for uninsured cars? I don't know how that works.
I think I was told that throughout cities now they've got sort of cameras posted out, so if your car's uninsured, it pings up on the computer. And straight away they put a marker on your vehicle.
Gotcha.
So with that one, I knew.
Well, I'd like to hear from people who aren't black who've been stopped by the police because they're uninsured. Yeah. I mean, it must happen. So yeah, I'd like to hear that.
That was the mistake of the insurance company that led to me being stopped, but I didn't have any issues with the police.
No, okay, good.
But I think the reason why this referred to your point, they also mentioned that my car was registered in London. I wanted to know what I was doing in Nottingham, and I told them I was a student.
Right.
And they said the only reason they asked is often what people do is they look online on Auto Trader, see cars for sale, and clone the plates.
Right.
So you're just doing that for prevention of crime. So if you're not from the area, potentially I could have been using cloned plates.
Right, I see.
That was a fair enough justification.
No, well, listen, as long as they explain it and it's justified, it's all right. It's just when they don't tell you the full story. Thank you for...
I don't really have any bad issues with me.
All right, fine. Caleb, thank you very much indeed. 03456060973. I got in a car that I bought privately, an XR2, do you remember them? And I got in and the police stopped me. And they said that, did I know that my car had been involved in a fatal accident? And I was like, no. And it was part of 2 cars, apparently. It had been welded together. It was the last time I ever bought privately from anybody. I would always go through a garage now. We'll take more calls. Simon, I'm coming to you after the news. Let me read out a text or two. Ian, before knife crime, Stop and Search still targeted the black community unfairly and disproportionately. The truth is they see us as criminals and therefore approach us with that mindset, whether you're in a formal wear or a hoodie, says Abby. Lazarus says, it's funny how the police didn't use the windows were tinted and we didn't know who was in the vehicle. Normally we